You guys hear me, by the way? Raise your thumb if you can hear me. Yeah? Starting now, I'm going to have Henry start recording because I'm doing the leadership series over here, and I'm going to use this book right here, The 10 Pillars of Leadership. It's a great book written by a great leader, maybe, I don't know, but it's a great book. And the reason is I didn't invent anything in this book at all. It was all 100% lifted from other mentors and other people that were ahead of me in leadership, and I observed them and watched them, and I copied down what they did, and then I read material and I implemented some of that material. So 10 pillars of leadership. I want to remind you guys this is so important that I'm going to go ahead and go through it. So there are many definitions of leadership. Here's my definition of leadership. This is the definition for business. Leadership is influencing a person to join your company, to stay in your company, and to successfully accomplish a desired goal while you walk alongside them. So here's a question. The first step is leadership is influencing somebody to join. Have you influenced anyone to join the company? You should be influencing people to join the company everywhere you go. Like every waiter, bartender, bartendress, whatever you talk to, every person who's an actor that obviously is just unemployed. Like you should be students, you should be influencing people around you to join. If you're not influencing people to join, you can't lead. One of my favorite examples, I used to see this all the time, like when I sold books, is that in different companies, when people would leave, they're like, I'm going to start my own company. I'm like, no, you won't. They're like, why? I'm like, well, you can't sell here. What makes you think you can sell anywhere else? Oh. And they're like, well, I can hire people. But yeah, but you can't hire here. Why would anybody else? Like, I know it. And I used to do this at a 160-year-old company in the book business. And it was like this. So they had the credibility of 160 years in business, the credibility of being written about in famous journals, magazines, and board reviews, thousands of people around them to convey the message. And that person still couldn't get anyone to come and stay in the business. And I'm like, so is that in your way? Is all that credibility of 160 years in business and thousands of people on the same mission, is all of that keeping you from keeping people? Is all that credibility hurting you or helping you? It's helping me. So you take it away and then you'll be able to build a company? You take all the credibility away and it's just you. And like, you're not credible when you have thousands of people supporting your message around you, but you're credible without that. Do you guys understand the leadership lapse? It's all about not understanding what leadership's about, right? You got to be able to get people to join. You got to be able to get people to stay. Who's had some success in getting some people to stay a little bit? Yeah, Nikita, your hand should go down because that's just bullshit. Yoris, I think you maybe tried a little bit. Yana, yes, you've done it. Yeah. Okay. But by the way, guys, do you respect participants in a basketball game? And when I say participants, I mean other fans. Do you go to basketball games, Eustace? You're like, I really respect those fans. That's who I'm here to see. Okay. And what I'm saying is, staying is not good enough. They have to successfully accomplish their desired goal. Because see, you go to watch your basketball team because you want to see them win and you celebrate the players' victories, right? That's who you want to win. You're not cheering for the other fans, are you? That's kind of weird. So a question I would ask is like, okay, maybe you get somebody to join. If you can't get anyone to join, like you need to up your leadership lid. And I'll prove it, okay? Like, and I talk about this in our company too. Like, as a company, LGFG works with Jordan Peterson, Eddie Hall, Dan Locke, Zuby, Alice Cooper, like Lennox Lewis. We work with world championship people in like sports, in music, in influence. Like we work with world champions around like in every arena basically, right? We're now in GQ, we're now in Forbes. I mean, we've been around for a long time. Do we have credibility? We have like there's probably no tailoring company in the world today that to a 20-year-old that's looking to apply for a job would have more credibility than us. I think that's a fair statement. And it's like you have all this credibility around you, you should be able to get people to join. And if you don't, whose fault is it? Well, it's your fault. Why? Because, well, take the credibility away. Are they going to follow you then? It's like that's the leverage you have. You got to get them to stay. But then here's the third part. You got to get those people to successfully accomplish their desired goal. Is their goal when they join, is it, I want to work here for 3 months and then quit and look for a new job? Is that the goal? Anyone? Is that the goal? I want to join for 3 months and quit. I want to join for 6 months, struggle, and then get another job using this as my helper on my resume with a recommendation from my leader after 6 months. Is that the goal? A goal might be I want to build a substantive career and make a better future for my family. Is that a good goal? Okay, and a question I would ask from the leadership team here is the leadership is if it's getting somebody to join to stay and accomplish a desired goal, have you helped anyone accomplish their desired goal? And and sometimes I get like right now I have a rookie calling in the other room, and he's like, I booked 4 QBs today, and I listen to them, and they're not QBs, right? It's just all garbage. And I know what's going to happen. I already explained to this rookie that after you go to these meetings and all of them cancel on you, you're going to blame our website because you know what people email these rookies when they send the invitation? I looked at your website and I don't like what you guys do. Really? You guys don't hear that anymore. But what it's like, no, like when you're a clown, they're going to give you clown stuff. And then the rookie's going to be like, well, if the company had a better website, then I could sell. It's like, no, you have low skills. True? Obviously true. Because you guys don't hear it. You're high skill at selling. Isn't it time you increase the leadership, right? Because the reason people join the company is because they have a goal, a vision for their life that you promised them. If you can't get someone to join your cause, you're not a leader because you're not leading anyone. And that's obvious. If you can't get a sale, are you a salesperson? You're just a person. I used to tell people in the call center, if you're a booking buddy and you're not booking anyone, you're just a buddy. Are you a salesperson or a person? Are you a leader or an Okay. The first logical step is you got to understand that influencing someone to simply join does not make you a leader. It makes you maybe a recruiter, but not a leader. Might make you a manager, but not a leader. You have to influence a person to stay because they have to overcome challenges that take time to develop. And someone who joins your cause and then leaves before their desired goal is accomplished, it just indicates a lack of leadership. That's all it is. And I'll prove it. It's easy to prove, right? If you book a meeting and that person doesn't show up, did you really book a meeting? If you book a meeting and they don't buy, are you a salesperson or are you just an advertiser, a free information giver, a waiter, a marketer of some sort? You're not a salesperson, right? The result has to be the result. The result is always the result. And that's kind of coming back to salesmanship. Like, if you're asking your boss for more money when you're in sales, you got a problem because you need to sell more. I mean, that's just how everything works. So someone who joins and then leaves just communicates a lack of leadership. And that person needs to accomplish their desired goal that was set out in advance. If you will influence a person to stay, but they don't succeed in accomplishing that goal, it's not leadership. And I'll tell you why, because you can pay people to join and you can pay people to stay. But if they're not profitable to the business, then the ultimate goal is not accomplished. You guys following me? Can you pay somebody to join a company? Yes. Can you give them a salary to stay? Sure. Congratulations. You've mastered the art of getting a hooker. You can pay them to join you and stay for a while. Can't buy love. So there's a little bit of a leadership gap there. And I can pay people, I can tell them what to do, but that's management, that's not leadership. And if people want to join you, and even those who stay can't accomplish their preset desired goals, then unfortunately it means you lack the leadership ability to achieve what you set out to do. So we have to up our leadership lid. So here we have 10 pillars of leadership. Leadership, despite its deep lack of being understood by the world at large, is very much a skill set more so than a talent. I can prove that leadership is a skill set more than a talent because many of you that started in sales were not as good at sales as you are today. Raise your hand if you're much better at sales today than you were when you joined. All hands should be up. So therefore, we have proven that salesmanship is a skill rather than a talent, whereas most of the world at large would say sales is just a talent, right? Most of the people that are young believe that sales is a talent, not a skill, because they don't know anything about sales. And if you believe leadership is a talent rather than a skill, it's because you know nothing about leadership. Now we have lids. We all can, we probably all have ceilings that we can reach that are going to cap us, but we can all improve in leadership, just like we can all improve in sales. Maxwell says this. He says some people have a higher potential in leadership than others. He also states that everyone can improve their skill. My purpose here is to deconstruct leadership with real and easily digestible scenarios in order to extract the principles of leadership to help you become a better leader. Let's preface this though real quick, guys. You guys already know this. Leadership is extremely hard, and most people who attempt it will at some point determine that they can't do it. The reason they can't do it is because they're going to do it for free for a long time. Doesn't that sound like sales? Like when you start in sales, you do a lot of stuff. Like how much of your time when you started in sales was spent doing things for free? right? Like a lot of time, you just did stuff for free. You wrote free emails, you made free phone calls. You got nothing out of it, but you called and you emailed. You did just free stuff. And who's done some free leadership? Well, actually, what you've done is free attempts at leadership, right? Because if you were doing leadership, then things would actualize, and they do. And it's, we get salespeople like, it's not worth it because it doesn't pay. It's like, it pays if you're good. Leadership pays if you're good, a lot. I don't know if you guys saw it. I shared a video today in the group. It was this guy talking about how if you want to make hundreds of thousands or even low millions, you can be really great at sales. But if you really want to build wealth, you got to get good at leading people, at developing people. That's when you get like into the ultra high net worth category, scaling and building enterprises. You got to get good at building people. You can build clients to buy more. You guys know this. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a little bit of skill. So leadership's lonely. Leadership causes heartbreak. Leadership puts a mirror in front of you and forces you to confront yourself, not as you believe you are, but as the world sees you. Boy, that could be hard to hear. Hey, can you guys believe that? That leadership confronts you not the way you see yourself, but as the world sees you? Think about that, right? Like if everybody that you get that is hired with you quits on you, you're probably a douche. And you know how I know? Because I used to hire people all the time that quit on me. And it made me realize I'm probably a douche. I didn't set out to be a douche. I didn't try to do that. I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to, make a promise to people that couldn't be kept. I didn't want any of those things. But the outcomes are the revelation of truth, aren't they? Like, I don't care if you believe that you're an amazing salesperson. If you can't sell, you're not that thing. Does that make sense? Like, do results not matter? Like, when people start with you, do results not matter? Do outcomes not matter? And I want to break this delusion because I have a lot of people that think they're leaders, and it's like, it's crazy to me. It's like, yeah, man, I think I'm a soccer player. But put me on a field with competent players, I won't even see the ball, let alone touch the ball. And so I want to break this delusion. Like, saying you're a leader does not make you a leader. Me calling you a leader does not make you a leader. Yeah, sure, we have some market leader applications. You can apply to be a market leader. It's a nice title to have. It doesn't mean anything if you're not leading anyone. And it certainly doesn't mean anything if you're not leading anyone successfully. Now, you might determine that leadership's not for you, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe leadership is not for you. That's okay. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. But if you don't successfully learn to lead people, does it hinder your chances of becoming a partner in an organization if you can't lead people? It must. And it can cost you partnership as well. I've seen it in law firms when partners have been let go because they couldn't develop associates and they wouldn't develop associates. And then the firm was like, well, then you're a grinder. That's cool. But eventually you get a cheaper grinder and they move in a counsel guy to do the grind work and they don't have to pay partnership and the partners all make more money. And the grinder has no choice because he's like, well, I'm not a partner, so I just got to do the stupid grind work. And you don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the person that's the grinder. Like it's not an actualization of your potential. And that might be true for people listening to this later. That might be true for the people on this call now. You don't want to be a person that doesn't reach their potential. Because it sucks. It sucks to see other people pass you. It hurt my feelings when I was selling in sales and younger people would sell more than me. It didn't hurt my feelings because I was jealous of them. It hurt my feelings because I realized that I was doing something wrong. Like I remember when I hired Trinu and like in year 3 and I was still selling and she started outselling me working 2 days a week. It was crazy, right? She would work 2 days a week and she would outsell me. Can you guys figure out what she did better than me? She kept her damn clients. She treated her clients well and she saw the same clients. And in year 3, I was still seeing you guys. You guys get that? So I needed to learn how to up my game as a salesperson so I can, and by the way, using some numbers here, which takes more time, selling 10K a month or selling 100K a month? Which takes more time? Selling 10K a month takes way more time. I can prove it. I've got people in the office here right now that have just started and they're selling 10K a month. You know how much they work? 12 hours a day cold calling nonstop. And they're selling 10K a month. Selling 100K a month is like having 20 good clients to visit. So some of you guys are like, I don't have time to lead. No, you don't have time to lead when you suck at selling. When you're good at selling, you have all the time to lead. You know that's true. And by the way, sometimes CEOs, myself included, have said, I don't have time to create strategy and create, large projects. Yeah, because I couldn't lead. When you can lead, it takes way less time to lead than when you cannot lead. Do you guys believe that? Think about that for 1 second. When you can sell, it takes you way less time to accomplish way more. Is that true? Like what used to be a 20K month for you guys is now a 20K day. You just call a couple clients. True? True. Leadership is the same. I have all the time in the world now to focus on bigger strategic type of initiatives. Like celebrity work is just like one example of that. Books is like another example. I have way more time to do that because I have people on my team and I can add values in new and bigger ways. So sometimes people tell me like, oh, I'm just going to grind and never have any time. You have a lot of time when you're a leader. I know our president is on this call. He's got a lot of time. And by the way, when you're leading a team of 20 people, we can't just get rid of you. You understand that? Because those people are there because of you. Do you guys get that? Like you can't get rid of a leader and expect good results. Like if I just left today, it would create a big hole. I can prove it, by the way. When Howard Schultz left Starbucks, Starbucks tanked. When Steve Jobs left Apple, Apple tanked. When Jack Welch left General Electric tanked. And so you see that, right? The CEO leaves and the company tanks and the CEO comes back. What happened when Howard Schultz came back to Starbucks? Boom. What happened when Steve Jobs came back to Apple? Boom. Does leadership matter? You guys following? Leadership matters. So just your presence, the kind of person you are when you have a team that makes you, let's say, a division president, just your presence in the organization elevates the performance of the organization. And the organization can't get rid of you because it undermines the organization. So you're like, well, if I'm a president, do I still get paid? It's like, dude, you'll be a different human by that point. It takes less time to do something well than it does to do something poorly. Is that true? It would take me my entire life to dunk a basketball. LeBron James can do it in under 2 seconds right now. He'll blick, done. His lid is higher. So leadership is hard. Leadership causes heartbreak. Most people can't handle the truth that leadership reveals about themselves. Most people can't handle it. So what they do is they deny it. It's not me. It's somebody else, you know? And sometimes I have a call with one of my leaders or an emerging leader, let's say, and I tell them the truth about something. They argue with me and I'm like, okay, they're not ready to hear the lesson yet. And I tell this to rookies, you know, sometimes I train rookies. Have you guys had this when a rookie tries to explain to you how what they're doing on the phone is better? And you're like, you have literally never made a sale in your whole life, ever. And you're telling me what works? And that's what I tell them, face right to their face. So when a leader argues back, I'm like, you have led nobody ever to success and you're telling me what works. Why don't we make this a constructive thing and we help you learn and help you grow and help you get better? Wouldn't that be better for you? If you want to be a leader, doesn't mean you do. If you want to be a salesperson, doesn't mean you do. By the way, when it comes to truth, remember the underlying premise to everything you're about to see. People will believe what they see before they believe anything they're told. Is that true? People believe what they see more than what they believe they're told. So leadership isn't about management and telling people what to do. It's about modeling and showing people what to do. This truth will come back a lot. Make it very simple. Here, there's only 2 pages on the first pillar of leadership, okay? Which is pretty cool. It's the first pillar. Leadership starts with a promise. Well, if we're going to define leadership, we have to define where leadership starts. Leadership starts with a promise. When you recruit someone to your cause, you're able to get somebody to join. That means they start with a promise, and the promise is always the same promise. If you join me on this quest and you follow through on the actions I'm asking you to make, then you will get the goals you came here to achieve. So when Chanda started with our company, Chanda, I made you a promise, and the promise was the same with everyone. If you join me on the quest and you follow through the actions I'm asking you to make, you'll get the goals you came here to achieve. That's the underlying promise. Chanda, you're a partner in the company. That promise has substantially come true. Yours, the same promise was made to you. Mamak, the same promise was made to you. You guys following? Now, there's an onus on you to perform your part, but if you perform your part, then the promise becomes fulfilled. Most of the time when you hire new people, they just don't believe what you're telling them. Like you tell them, if you do this, you'll be successful. And they're going to tell you, yeah, that's great. And then they don't believe you. And how do you know they don't believe you? They quit on you. They quit on you because they believe you're a liar. That's why people quit on you. Do you guys understand that they quit because they think you're a liar? Because you made them a promise that you'll get everything you want if you just do what I say. Great. And why don't they do it? Because they don't want the things they want? No, it's because they don't believe you. Because they think you're a liar. There's no sense in following someone if there's no positive outcome available. People went to war with the promise that victory would create a better life for their future, for their country. while defeat will denounce them to less than favorable outcomes. People partake in higher education with the promise that becoming an expert at something will have tangible intellectual and financial benefits to themselves and their current and future family. People force themselves to be disciplined and go to the gym because of the promise of a healthier, better looking body. I'm betting that very few people go through the discomfort of going to the gym simply for the displeasure of going to the gym. Nobody joins here for the pain of cold calling, right? There's a promise of a positive outcome. So why do people work with you? It's because of the implicit promise you make to them. If you join me on this quest and do the actions I'm asking you to do, you'll get the goals you came here to get. The higher the goals the people set for themselves, the more difficult it will be for the leader to keep those people. For reasons we'll get into shortly, this is what John Maxwell defines as the leadership lid. Better people are harder to recruit and harder to keep. You guys believe that? It's easy to book somebody who's not qualified to buy. Do you believe that? Duh. Better people are harder to get. Leading someone with shitty goals is quite easy. There's a little chance of not keeping your promise. Well, if the promise is that you're not going to lead them anywhere, it's already done. However, if someone has high personal goals, then leading them will be very hard because the actions you will have to ask them to make to achieve higher goals will be harder, will be riskier, and they'll take longer. Like if your goal is to become a partner, that's a hard promise to fulfill because it's damn hard. And if your goal is to become division president, that's a hard promise to fulfill because it's damn hard. Everybody's like, oh, I just want to do nothing. And I say, well, here's an idea. Why don't you just become one of those rich capitalists everyone hates, right? You start a company, you do nothing, and then people send you money. Mwah. You start a company, then you don't have to work at all. That's all these rich capitalists, right? They just sit around smoking cigars, owning railroads or something. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you want to achieve bigger things, it's going to be harder and more work and more sacrifice and more pain. And we're going to discuss in the next chapter. So what kind of goals do people have when they join your team? In our organization, which is a direct sales organization, people come with the promise of personal success in sales, which comes with the glory of recognition, financial freedom, respect from highly esteemed members of their community, which we serve. These are not benefits which are readily available for many, and therefore there's a big promise under which people join and a very difficult quest to achieve. After all, financial freedom sounds wonderful, but it's not going to be easy or quick. I mean, why would it be? And with a promise as big as the promise you make as a leader, it might even be easy to attract people to join, but getting them to stay and succeed will be a greatest challenge. It'll be a greatest challenge because of what I'm going to close on, because of the pillar we're going to cover next time. Because a promise cannot be believed if the deliverer of the promise is not believable. Say that again. A promise cannot be believed if the deliverer of the promise is not believable. Right? Leadership is modeling. Okay, that's it for this module. We'll continue next time. Peace. Oh, $100 million company, 2026. We get there by building organizations.